Hello everyone, welcome back to another Commander review for Magic the Gathering. Today, we're talking about the first of the Flip Legend cycle in Saviors of Kamigawa. This is, and I will be pronouncing this name wrong, so apologies for that in advance. Erayo Soratami Ascendant, which is very cool card. I can't wait to talk about it. So, quick reminder on how flipping works. If you've never played with a flip card before, flip is different than transform, which is something Magic has been doing a lot recently. Transform is there's a backside to the playing card. Flip is one half of the card does one thing, and you flip it upside down to do the other thing. So, just to make things easier so you don't have to read the bottom half of the card, I've already copied it and flipped it right side up for you to read. But we have Erayo Soratami Ascendant. And there are lots of flip cards in the Kamigawa block, but there's only 5 of them that can be your commander. So this is the first of the 5. It is a 1/1 Moonfolk Monk that costs 2 mana, 1 generic and 1 blue. It has the flying keyword and a triggered ability. Whenever the 4th spell of a turn is played, it does not matter if it's yours or an opponent's 4th spell, it just cares that it's the 4th spell period, which is really cool. Flip Erayo Soratami Ascendant. So when you flip it, you simply turn it upside down rather than flipping it over like you would with a face down card or with a transform card. You flip it, and then it becomes Erayo's Essence, a legendary enchantment that reads, counter the first spell played by each opponent each turn, which is absolutely bonkers. So incredibly strong. Really cool card. So, just to kind of go over everything again. 2 mana value commander. Really simple, straightforward. However, whenever the 4th spell is cast in a single turn by anyone, you could play the first spell, your opponents could play 2 spells, and then you play the 4th spell. It doesn't matter. As long as the 4th spell has been played in a single turn, this will trigger and flip into Erayo's Essence. Really cool. And then when it flips into that, it no longer is a Moonfolk Monk creature. It becomes a legendary enchantment instead, which is nice. It kind of gives it its own form of protection, because now it's no longer a creature that can get blown up. But it's just absolutely insane. So let's get right on into how to play with this card. First of all, no card rulings for this commander. It's very straightforward. However, like I said earlier, it's extremely powerful. So, as of right now, this card is banned in Commander, which is sad. However, Commander is a social game. It is a casual game. So if you do want to play this as your commander, let your team know, let your table know that you want to play with this as your commander. There should be no reason why they say no. However, if you're super oppressive with this commander, it could quickly become maybe not this commander, maybe play with a different commander and leave her in the 99 or something like that, you know? So always check with your play group beforehand if you decide you want to play with this commander, because according to the rules committee, this commander is banned from the format. If you do build with it though, there's some crazy things we can do with this card as your commander. First of all, Guile, fantastic synergy card with this commander. Essentially what I want to read is that middle ability. If a spell or ability you control would counter a spell, so the enchantment side of your commander, if it would counter a spell or ability, instead exile that spell, and you may play that card without paying its mana cost, which is absolutely crazy. Because your commander, when it flips, it counters the first spell played each turn by each opponent. So if your opponents play a spell on each other player's turn, that's like 3, 6, 9, 12 potential cards in a single round that you could get. 12 cards worth of value with Guile and your commander as an enchantment. So, absolutely broken card. Really, really cool stuff. A popular deck idea on EDH Rec is almost a serial deck. It's a draw-go deck where you are trying to build up your hand and then play as many spells as you can so you can flip your commander as soon as possible. So you want to play with a lot of 1-drop cantrips, you want to play with 0-drop spells, and then the way you win is by playing cards that care about whenever you cast spells. You're going to cast a ton of spells in this deck because they're all super cheap cost. So there's ways to bounce cards back to your opponent's hands, there's ways to tap down your opponent's board. Very control-y, very aggressive, very repressive, insane commander. And then a fun deck build around with this commander, which again, fun is kind of a weird term with this commander because of how oppressive it can be, but essentially you want to draw go as much as possible with this deck. So this is essentially a draw go commander. You're going to counter your opponent's stuff, but then you're going to untap more lands so you can play more things. Whenever you cast things, you're going to draw cards with it. Essentially, this is the same deck as this deck, but instead of focusing on just casting as many spells as possible, this one you're playing a more slow, control-y, grindy game where every time you cast something, you're getting more than just what the card says out of it. You're trying to draw extra cards from with it. You're trying to ramp with it as much as possible. Try and build this crazy value engine and just outplay your opponents as fast as possible. And that is going to do it for this commander. And again, this card is banned, very much banned. However, there are several different deck ideas on EDH Rec that you can build with this commander, which is a lot of fun. So you can get some fun inspiration from there to try and build a less powerful or a more janky version of this commander. Have fun with it, and of course, check with your play group beforehand that you want to play this commander. Speaking of the deck ideas for this commander, it has a rank of B as far as deck ideas go. According to EDH Rec, there are quite a few different deck ideas that you can build off of, but not like 10 plus deck ideas. It is a limited amount. I think this is 9 different deck ideas that you could build around just from EDH Rec. So go ahead and check that out if you want to build this commander. But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comment section down below. I love to read your guys' stuff or answer any questions. Or, lately, one thing I've noticed is there's been at least 1 or 2 videos that have come out recently that I've actually made mistakes on, and you guys have caught that. So thank you guys for catching those mistakes and letting me know so I can, keep myself honest in trying to make these videos as accurately as I can. So let me know what you guys think down below, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!